this webisode. Guys, over the last 24 hours, we have seen countless people across the space flip very bullish for Bitcoin in the very short term. However, guys, there's something we need to look at. Like my Uncle Billy always used to say, do not count your eggs until they squawk, squeal, or squirt. We're going to be doing a deep dive on what this cross that we saw happen yesterday actually means for Bitcoin, if it will do anything for Bitcoin's price in the very short term, and as well what has happened multiple times over the past 2 years when we've gotten this exact cross. De nada, muchas gracias. And as well, guys, altcoins are actually doing very well comparative to Bitcoin over the last 24 hours. But there's something very, very, very important we're going to watch on this daily chart for some of these leading altcoins because, guys, I just don't think we're out of the woods yet. As you guys know, I'm extremely bullish midterm. I am even more bullish long term. But in the very short term, that's where I'm a little more undecided, and that's what we're going to absolutely talk about and delve into today. Wow, welcome back to the channel, my pumpers, dumpers, and my late night bedroom thumpers. Guys, we've got a lot to delve into in this absolutely extraordinary webisode and a lot of TA to delve into. And specifically, the cross we've been talking about for the last few days that actually occurred yesterday. We got the cross, all right? What does it mean? I see nobody talking about this. And because, again, it could be negligent. It could be something not super important. We're going to delve into it. And specifically, what has happened the last, 6 or 7 times this has happened in the past 2 years with this cross specifically. Okay, guys, we're on the verge of entering probably the most bullish market that I've seen in years. However, the only thing I'm a little undecided about in the short term is just that, the short term. Which way is price going to swing? Are we going to have a continued pullback? Or, like we talked about, will we find that support ultimately on this 21-week moving average and absolutely beautifully bounce off of here? Guys, if everything goes the way we expect it to over the next year, you will have your toes in the sand and a juice in your hand. And that's exactly, basically the only thing you need in life. Am I right? So without any further ado, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you get updated when we upload new content. And as well, we smash the like goal, so we will be picking a winner for the ledger at the end of this Schwebisode. Wow, so make sure to leave your comment to enter for these ledgers. And in your comment today, maybe leave a comment on what beach you will be vacationing at with some crypto gains, or what you're going to be doing if all of your dreams do come true, right? If you make a massive amount of money in the next year and you take advantage of this bull cycle and you did it correctly and you end up coming out on the other side very well off, what do you want to do with that moolah? And guys, with a huge move looming for Bitcoin, I definitely am in the market to have a nice juicy long placed. Okay, but I'm waiting for certain indicators. And again, if you're interested in trading, make sure you use the links below. They support the channel, and you get some very nice bonuses and 20% reduction in trading fee when you use the links below. It is milking time, guys. So let's actually jump into these charts. So a lot of people have flipped extremely bullish in the last 24 hours, and I think it's because of this. I'm not 100% sure why everyone is 100% convinced we found a bottom. Maybe they're seeing something that I don't see, but at this point, I'm still kind of undecided. I'm still looking for some of these targets here, right? I just definitely don't want to get faked out, and if we have another swing to the downside, I think it's much better to be cautious in this particular scenario, okay? Because again, guys, I'm extremely bullish. I'm so bullish on Bitcoin. I'm so bullish on altcoins specifically. Okay, I'm a huge alt boy, but I think this is just a very key moment that we kind of want to have everything clenched and ready, because who knows exactly when this move is going to happen and which direction it's going to swing. I definitely think there's going to be a big return to volatility here, but I think the reason a lot of people are bullish right now is because we had this falling channel here where we broke up let's take a look at this. What do we break out of this by almost 2%? So yeah, again, I'm not 100% sure why everyone's convinced this is the bottom. As you guys know, we did not feel the gap, okay, which I don't even think is super important or interesting to talk about anymore. I think everyone's very aware of the gap, so I'm probably not going to bring it up too much unless we come down here and fill it. But ultimately, we've gotten rejected at some key areas, right? So 10.6, 10.5 was previous support, and so far we've only turned that into resistance. We haven't actually broken above there. When we had that very strong swing downwards to this gap, we immediately came back up and we found resistance right at 10.6. And then we found a lower high. Again, this is on the 4 hour, so this is not even that significant. A lower high here around 10.4 or almost 10.5. And then again, we got a rejection again right at 10.5. So far, I don't see a reason to be super, super bullish short term. With that being said, we skip forward a few weeks. None of this matters anyway, because I think we're going to be on a much more bullish trajectory. But over the next few weeks, I think this is important to watch. So guys, if we switch to this chart, as we were talking about, we had a bearish cross, where we had the 21-day go below the 50-day moving average. And you guys see it here. I have it highlighted in purple. Now, let's take a look back and kind of just see what's happened previously when we've gotten that, because we've gotten it a fair amount of times over the last few months. And again, I don't think it's the strongest indicator. I'm going to come right out and say that out front. It's not the strongest indicator, but it's something we want to look at. So we did see something like this happen back at the end of June, and we continued downwards for a few weeks until we ultimately had a massive breakout because we had this much more prevailing, much bigger pattern here on the chart, like a symmetrical triangle or ascending triangle, whatever you want to call that there. Very bullish. When was the last time we had it? Besides that, okay, right before the massive dump in March. Okay, we had this massive swing from the 50 crossing above the 21 day moving average. And you can see it peak right about here. Bitcoin went from 9,000 all the way down to the infamous massive drop to like, what was this, 3.9? Geesh, that was such a big drop. But again, that had a lot to do with the overall global market, not just Bitcoin, okay? So again, that had other outside factors, so we won't really count that one too much. If we go back here, though, we saw a very similar thing where we got rejected here back in November of 2019, around 8.5, shortly after we had a cross, and we kind of did go down for a fair amount of time. We actually traded kind of negatively for like 2 months, and that's when we formed actually the inverse head and shoulders here. Like this, and we ended up breaking out. This is like the neckline. The neckline was like right about this, and then we ended up breaking up. So again, bearish pattern that ended up, it took a few months to consolidate and then turned into a bullish pattern. But then we see the same thing here. We had this cross, and immediately after we had a pump, but a straight rejection basically immediately after that, and we went from 11,000 all the way down to 7.7. Okay, and then this one as well. We had this cross, and then it immediately went up. But guys, what happened? We found resistance here around this very key $12,000 level. Ultimately traded in no man's land, had a quick flip positive, and then another bearish cross very shortly after that we just talked about that ultimately brought us down. And then if we go back here to January of 2019, we had this bearish cross and it did bring us down. We had this other bearish cross and it did bring us down a little bit, but we were already so bottomed out from Bitcoin's market, as you can see here if we zoom out. Really, there was not really any more room that Bitcoin could go down just because we were getting destroyed for so long. This was after we dropped from 6,000 to 3,000, and we were just trying to get some legs in the market. Ultimately, a few months later, we did end up breaking up very strongly to actually almost $14,000. So again, looking on this chart, you can see where the purple circles are, and there are some occasions where we do get pretty strong dumps after seeing that cross. But I also do want to reiterate that it's not that strong of a signal. While I do see it is something that's happening and it's important to keep an eye on, it's not ultimately going to determine the entire momentum, in my opinion. So I'm not saying this to say we're in like ultimate bearish scenario at all. In fact, guys, quite the opposite. Like I said, after the next few weeks, I'm basically 100% bullish. But the only side that I'm a little undetermined or a little undecided about is exactly where we are right now. It is key to note, though, we are holding a very key level, which is above that 9.7 to about 9.9, right above 10K. And we've gotten, look at this. We've gotten like, how many daily closes have we had here? Basically an entire week of daily closes right here. We see the wicks continuously going down. But guys, I think it's important to note we have not had any kind of bullish reversal indication just yet. When this first happened, okay, so many people were saying we're not going to go below 10.5. We actually ended up going below 10,000. So in the last week, so many people have been proven wrong already. They're saying we're going to immediately bounce at 10.5. As you can see, basically they were saying we're going to bounce right here, which is like the very tops of where Bitcoin was trading for a year before we finally did get a breakout. All of these, when we finally got this breakout at the end of July, so many people were saying, yes, we're going to come down here, we're going to immediately bounce, and we're going to start entering bullish territory. And guys, that's simply not what's happened, right? It's been an entire week, and that hasn't happened. So again, those people so far have been wrong about this move, and I just don't trust the absolute bullish short-term scenario just yet. So in my opinion, what would need to happen to actually get bullish short-term to match up with mid and long-term? For one, we need to get above 10.6. We need to hold this as support. We need to flip this into support instead of resistance, because right now this is resistance. We haven't done anything substantial in my opinion yet. We found a very strong rejection here back on September 4th, and we haven't even approached that since then. So in the last week, we haven't approached it since that initial rejection. This is still a bearish move in the short term, in my opinion, until we flip 10.6. So basically, to sum it up, yes, we want to flip 10.6 and then come back to retest that most likely and hold that. And then I think that would be a lot more bullish. Wow, and as well with Ethereum and a lot of these alts, guys, what we want to notice is that on this daily chart, we're trading right now below the 21-day moving average, which I think is very key to get a good idea of what is going to happen over the next, 1 to 2 weeks here. Ethereum is looking good in the sense that we're technically holding these highs that we got back in the summer of 2019. We've retained that, so we have a higher high on Ethereum's chart, which is awesome. And so far we've bounced here. So we haven't come down to this one, and we've actually bounced kind of in this area. But again, we're still below this 21-day moving average, which in my opinion, talking about short term, like over the next week, again, that's a little bearish right now until we flip that, which for Ethereum would be getting back above 390 US dollars. Currently we're at like 368. For Tezos, we are, significantly below some of these key moving averages. Even the 200-day for Tezos, this actually, honestly, is probably a good accumulation area. Not financial advice, but Tezos has been getting beaten down, and we want to see it flip this 200-day moving average. And then, guys, for Chainlink as well, looking the best out of these altcoins, for sure, in my opinion, holding actually above the 50-day moving average, right in between here. But we do want to see it flip $14 again, get back above 14. And then again, we could be seeing a nice bounce to some key levels for Chainlink. Do I still think $30 is possible for Chainlink in the year 2020? Absolutely, guys. We have over 3 months of this year left. That is not ridiculous at all. We're going to see this swing play out ideally over the next week or two, and that leaves like 3 months for novel price action to happen with Chainlink, these altcoins, and ideally what we want to see as well as altcoins continue to do really well and lead the market, kind of like they have, all right? Altcoins have really been the leaders of the past few months. It's been leading Bitcoin, okay? Altcoins have been leading Bitcoin. And with that being said, you can see the entire market cap for cryptocurrency. We're actually above the 21 week, which is very key. 285 billion is the 21 week, and we're at like 320, so it looks good. And then just for Bitcoin's weekly chart as well, we're above its 21 weekly, but we're bouncing right there. And guys, as we talked about yesterday, we're bouncing at this very key Fibonacci level, the golden pocket basically. So we want to maintain that. Ultimately, I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to maintain this, but maintaining that also could bring us down to fill that gap. We could fill that gap and still maintain this golden pocket 100%. So we wouldn't have to dip very low for that to happen, and it wouldn't invalidate any of these patterns either. Huge, guys. So if you want to follow along with my portfolio, if you want to learn charting, trading, if you want to get access to the Telegram and private altcoin portfolio and how I plan on kind of navigating the market, I get a lot of questions about how to exit the market. Which, to be honest, guys, I have not done that at all yet. I haven't exited any of my big positions at all. I think it would be silly. So if you're going to be trading short term for a lot of profit, I think that makes a lot of sense in a bear market. But when we're about to enter what, in my opinion, and many people's opinion, is a huge bull cycle, it just almost doesn't make sense to try to out trade that, because the entire market is going to be exploding over the next year. And in my opinion, it would be anything short of silly to be, pulling your investment out over and over and over again, because if you mess up one time, you can absolutely destroy your entire investment. Whereas if we're given this opportunity and you basically put all your eggs into what cryptos you want and just wait and endure the bull cycle, you're most likely going to make so much more money than if you're constantly exiting and entering the market every week. Okay, so my largest positions I am not touching right now other than putting more in. But that will be something we'll discuss in T4 as well, and via the Telegram. That's something 100% we'll be discussing when the time comes, but I'm just saying right now, the time has not come, in my opinion. And as well, guys, there's 20% off trading fees if you use the link below for Bybit, and a nice deposit bonus for Bybit. And as well, we have a Femex deposit bonus now, as well, $120 when you use that. All of those help support the channel. And guys, 20% off Ledgers and Ledger Nano X's. There is so many promotions going on right now, it's hard to remember. But if you're looking to trade, if you're looking to learn, if you're learning to secure your crypto, there are bonuses basically for all of those things in the links below if you're interested in doing any of that.